Um, Hello everyone, my name is Xiaoli. I came from China. Very happy to be here and to see every one of you.
First year student.
Yeah, I'm first year student.
I'm Erica A. I'm a second year student and I'm a TA as well.
And I'm Erica O, second year student, and I'm also a
I'm Nancy Murillo, and then this is my first year, and I'm also a TA.
My name is Wade Lusbrook. I graduated hopefully this summer, so second year student. So I'm also a teaching assistant.
My name is Daniel Papete. I'm a first year grad student. I'm also one of the teachers.
Mike Tapia, a grad program coordinator. And I'll just say this, we're also missing, Dr. Giever will pop his head in, today's like Aggie welcome, so. And then our office staff also are Andrea Scarborough and Alina Jackson's also there. And I don't think they had a chance to come, but you should, if you don't know them already, you should probably pop by the office and see them, so just get that out of the way.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Dulcinea Lara. I'm faculty in CJ. Nice to meet you all.
I'm Nicholas Natividad, faculty in CJ as well. Glad you all are here.
Itamar?
I'm Isamar Silvestre. This is my second year, and I'm also a TA.
Thanks everyone. I'm going to put your face in front of the camera. All right. Thank you, Isamar, for facilitating this part. And the reason for this also is because, all the students in here, you guys you recently, most of you recently already joined a Canvas course that's, specifically for posting information and making other announcements and all that. So we're gonna put there's a lot of people that, in the program from out of town or just, couldn't be here today. Most of the online students, so we're just gonna hopefully place this link in that area and they can see what they missed. Well, except for the lunch, but everything else, all the content. So again, welcome everyone. Thanks for being here. And we just wanted to sort of run through the program, quickly, just its structure, its various components, and then answer any questions you have. Sort of clear the air about expectations and all that other stuff that you see on your agenda. So, yeah, okay, I mentioned the department head who'll pop in here in a minute, and those are basically your go-tos, whenever you have questions or as TAs know, you have any material needs or any information or whatever, Andrea Scarborough is usually your best first point of contact. Anything substantively content related about the program, well then of course, that's me. Or whoever else is around, I'm happy to see all the faculty here so that way they can, weigh in and tell you about their expectations, the classes they teach, and just any other thing that's program related. So let's start with item 3, which is online versus on campus. So we have some online students here, right? Some are purely online. I know these two guys are. Julia, yeah, well, okay. And you know what? That's also a misconception already, kind of off the bat. Like in the handbook, and thank you to everyone who already sent in that signed final sheet attached to the handbook. But everyone's got. I laid out. I think all the students here got a paper copy of this. If you didn't yet sign that sheet, it's the very last page, so fill it out and leave it here on the table or hand it to me today. But when you read that document, it's always it's a work in progress. It's a living document. We're constantly updating it and sharpening the details there. And so one of the I say slight misconceptions or maybe something that needs to be probably relayed even more clearly in that document is this whole notion of online versus on campus and what you're allowed to take or allowed to do. I got some emails based on some students reading of the handbook saying, oh, this is my official declaration that, or I'm requesting permission to take this online class or this on-campus class because I can make it, and but technically I'm an online student. I mean, hey, if it were for me, and this is just me speaking, we would be as on campus as possible, for everything. If you can take an on-campus class, by all means, do it. I think the experience, it's a traditional experience, and it's better to have your professor, there, present, in your face, and reminding you of all the requirements and all the other things. So for a lot of folks, that's not possible, right? But stay as close to the department as you can, and really so technically, I guess, degree-wise, at the end, there is no distinction, the degree is the degree. The means by which you, travel through the curriculum and all that is, based on necessity and choice in some cases, but that would be my advice, is that, if you have to take online classes, take them, but if at all possible, do on campus. And I've told, I'll always say to online students, like some of you know that are in my class, I do a little video intro, and I try to give the best advice I can about navigating the class. And I say, I think you guys are at a slight disadvantage. I think it's harder to navigate an online class, graduate course, because there's so many details, and it's just so much, the standards are so stepped up, from the undergraduate experience. So it's on you, really to be very, very detail oriented and keep yourself on task, just because you don't have the benefit of, having the professor there helping you with that. What else could I say about that? The handbook also says if you're an online student, you don't have the option of writing a thesis. Is that true, Adriana? Is that true, Julia? Right. These are two online students, one returning and one new, who have already resolved to write a thesis and are already off and running and doing it. Adriana failed to mention that she works 40 hours on campus at the communications office here, so she's online, right, by necessity. But just given some of her background as a newspaper journalist, just given her interests and the fact that she is on campus, I'm like, it makes all the sense in the world to write a thesis. Julia has stumbled upon an excellent thesis idea and is already off and running with informal and probably securing formal mentors from the Criminal Justice Department. So it can be done. For those online, watching this video link, if that's something that you think you can pull off, which it's difficult to do, and both Julia and Adriana do live in town, which is about the only way that could happen, I think. Well, we have one other example that's not so, but that's a special case, and anyone who wants to hear about that, definitely ask any of the faculty members, because we do have this one guy who's very, unlike non-traditional, very experienced student. So anyway, there are special cases. So that's a couple things I want to clarify. It's not to put you in a track and keep you there. There are options, but you do need to kind of approach professors that you have good rapport with, and explore that option if you think that's something you want to do. A thesis, if you're online, that is. Questions about that? Yes.
So regarding the credit hours, for example, the online has 36 or 37 hours, and the course has 33 hours. So how do you navigate through that?
Thank you. That's an important distinction as well, right? Is the number of hours. So the reason that the online track is called coursework option is because if you're not writing a thesis, you don't have CJ 599, you don't have 6 hours of thesis credit, right? So you have to substitute that with more classes. And the way it works out, Dr. Posadas can probably speak to the history of this, but the way it works out is I think you take one, essentially one more class, 3 more hours of CJ elective, right? As an online student or as a coursework student. And then you know, you would substitute 6 out of those 9, you know, extra hours, I guess, or elective hours with your thesis hours. We don't make you take that extra elective. So yeah, that's what it is, correct. And thank you for pointing that out, because that is one of the main distinctions between online versus or thesis versus comprehensive exam.
But just to make sure it's clear,
Yes,
just because you're online doesn't mean you have to do the extra class.
correct.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
You'll be on the thesis
On
option.
the visa
33.
option, yes, yeah, that was my confusion, okay, well, am I important?
No, you'll do the 33 if you
Okay.
Okay, gotcha, thanks. Yeah, I think I slightly misunderstood that one, but that clarifies. So the general expectations and program structure, item 4 here, that's basically all contained within the handbook. And that's, you know, not something that I'm prepared to go through in detail here. That was the reason for, you know, the early notice about here's the handbook, read it, you know, ahead of time, sign it to make sure that we know that you understand. You know, it's just a little symbolic, you know, gesture on your part to say, yes, I'm you know, with the program and I understand all this. Comps versus thesis route, you know, in that vein is, well, you know, we've already talked, you know, plenty about that, but that's, you know, that's your choice to make and your options to explore. If you are an on-campus student, does that mean that you will write a thesis? It's not a hypothetical question. Some of you know the answer to this.
Nope.
Wait.
What? No.
No, if you're an on-campus student, you still can take the coursework option. And there's a little diagram somewhere, you know, you take comps, basically. Comprehensive exam. You know, anyone who's not writing a thesis, the default is the comprehensive exam. That's probably as simply as I could put it, regardless of, you know, whether you're an online or on-campus student. But, you know, just generally, you know, I'll say this about the program and its structure. You know, I probably shouldn't have to say this, but I will, just for good measure, is that grad school is rigorous. You know, it's going to be tougher than what you've had as an undergrad. So be ready to be challenged by the work. And as for the curriculum, I mean, you know, you have the packet. It makes sense. You know, we still haven't started classes start tomorrow. There's still time to make changes in your registration. So for you new students who are not in our core classes that are being offered this year, which is 511, 501, what else are we doing core? I think that's it for this semester. Yeah, so if you're not in one of those classes, whether you're online or on campus, you should be. And if, you know, you are an on-campus student, then, or, you know, if you're here in Las Cruces, then you should definitely take the on-campus version. Let's see.
It should be in both, just so it's clear.
501 and 511, yes, for sure. Take every core class every semester. You know, like every time you have a chance, because you know there are changes, and sometimes you know it's unavoidable to not offer everything we need every semester. So do that. Take them when they're there. Hi, welcome. Pull up a chair. Are you gonna have lunch here?
Yes, should I?
Yeah, go ahead and
Okay.
introduce yourself while we're here. while you're
Okay,
here.
hi everyone, I'm Maria Dimitrijevic and I teach in criminal justice department. Been doing for now 11 years. And I teach usually undergraduate courses, but definitely explore opportunities to teach graduate courses. and I do human trafficking, drugs, statistics, so all of that is an option. So if you want to speak with me about anything, let me know. So let me grab a lunch and be back.
Thank you. She will be on the